So let's imagine one day you're just going about your business like always, looking at the sky, the sunshine, everything else, feeling like you're doing all right, but something's missing in your life. There's this kind of feeling that there's a sensation if you want to do more, you think there's more to life than what's going on right now. And you start seeing things all around you. You start seeing, maybe looking on social media or whatever, you keep seeing people talking about this thing called Reiki. And you're thinking, Reiki? What on earth is that? No idea what that is. Maybe you'll start seeing signs of people around you start talking about it, maybe experiencing it themselves, or maybe even offering it to you, and all the while you're in a state of confusion. How do I know this? Because it happened to me. Many years ago, I started seeing this thing called Reiki start popping up. I saw people that I knew actually having it done when I was present. I thought, what is going on? And somebody even offered it to me. And be honest with you, at the time, I thought it was something to do with gardening. I thought it was something to do with a rake. You go around raking leaves up or whatever, some kind of weird mindfulness thing. That's how much in the dark I was. But this is how things evolve. It suddenly starts to get in your face more and more and more, and you doubt it, don't you? You think like, this is all just gobbledygook. This is just like, people are just making this stuff up. And that is really what we're on about today. That's the first sign of these 5 signs, is becoming aware that there's something else out there that you might wish to tap into. So let's go to the second sign of the 5 signs of Reiki. And it's this sense of being more than you are. It's like you're looking around life and you're thinking there's got to be something more than this. There's got to be something more than just running around on what we call the eternal hamster wheel, spinning around as fast as you can, just trying to get into a new kind of like state of existence. And it can be quite challenging. And this sense of calling keeps talking to you. You start seeing signs. You might start seeing like what we call numbers being repeated, like 1111, 2222, 3333. Certain things keep coming to your attention. And that really is your calling beginning to come more and more louder. And there comes a point where it keeps pushing you to act on that information. And I'd love to know where you are on your journey with that. Whether you are a Reiki practitioner, maybe you could tell me, hey, what was your calling? What called to you? Or maybe if you're someone who was just like I was, completely oblivious to this thing, and suddenly just started to notice all these little signs, maybe it's the time to act on those signs. It's very much a personal choice whether we wish to do that or not, but it's certainly something that we might wish to explore. Okay, and then you may start to find that your circumstances change as you become more and more into this awareness that there is something more out there. It's almost like you begin to change things around you. Maybe you'll get to that state of grace where you think like, I want to move on. I don't want to be in this same position. And before you know it, maybe the job you're in suddenly becomes more challenging. Maybe you'll find yourself being moved on, and circumstances change within that job, for example, that you're in, and you feel that things must change. It happened to me. It really did. And when I think back, I know that was part of my soul's journey, my growth, for want of a better word. And this is what happens. We kind of get comfortable in a certain area. You wonder what this is, my little board of information. Because with me and my 5 brain cells, I'll forget. And with that information, it starts pushing you out into new areas that more align with your being. How many times have you heard of people being in a high-flying job and they're doing quite nicely, they're probably making loads of money, but they're really unhappy inside? And this can happen to us all. There is a sense of realization that actually what we think is important, is it really? Is life meant to be burning yourself out as fast as you can? Or maybe we should live our life a little bit more fuller. And that again is another sign of sort of maybe being drawn to Reiki or just a spiritual awakening in general, really, let's be honest. This is kind of things that begin to happen. And you do start to come to the fourth sign now, which is just seeing life so differently. You know, where you come to a start of realization where you keep thinking like, I need to rush around. You think, actually, I don't. And people ask you to do something to kind of like burden you with stuff, you suddenly find yourself saying, no, actually, I won't. And that's not you being selfish or unhelpful. It's actually recognizing your own worth, what you can do to people. And you don't worry. You know, when you say no to someone, you don't worry about how they're going to react at all. You're not being very helpful. And you're just in this state where you're thinking, actually, it doesn't matter. And again, the things that we feel can cloud our judgment, can really hold us down. We suddenly start to release it and say, like, I don't need this anymore. I'm going to do the things that feel right. And, you know, that's important. Not what you think is right, but what you feel is right. The more we embrace that sense of feeling, that sense of just pure love, it can take us into a whole new direction. Again, please do share with me your experiences. I really do love to hear your thoughts because they're very important. And now we come to the fifth and final part of the 5 signs of Reiki. And these are just 5 signs I've come up with. Someone will no doubt say, well, actually, I've got another 5. In fact, I've got 55. Share them with me. Love to hear them. And another sign is where you think you keep hearing about this Reiki or sort of like spiritual practices. You want to try it for yourself. It happened with me. A good friend of mine at the time invited me to give me a Reiki session. And that was quite mind-blowing for me. It was like my leg started twitching all on its own. The reason being, it's like a blockage. There's a blockage there, so what the Reiki will do, it will come in and it will push that blockage out. And that was really how it all started for me. We all start from somewhere. And it's not about being kind of like holier than thou or anything like that. It's just a realization that we're on a path. And Reiki is one way. It could be like a reading, for example. It could be a meditation. It could be so many different ways that your spiritual path may start to open up. And we go from here and we just start to unfold. And the beauty is it never stops. It keeps evolving. And these days with me, it started my journey off. Okay, I'm a Reiki master, though I prefer Reiki instructor or teacher, to be honest with you. I'm not one for grand epithets and titles and saying, oh, this is who I am. No, I'm just some bloke who does Reiki. And it's into your kind of like whole awareness of doing readings, working with angels, the whole shebang can really start somewhere. So I often say this to people, Reiki is your key to the door. Unlock that door, open wide, and step inside. Who knows what you may find. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please do, I'll say it again, put some comments down and drop those likes. Really appreciate that. Much love to you all, and do take care.